Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in on the most auspicious occasion of Gopashtami, also the Tirubaditi of Dhananjay Pandit Prabhu, Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu, and also Srinivasa Acharya. Today is a very, very auspicious day of many, many festivals occurring in the most auspicious month of Kartik. So thank you all for joining in. And on this auspicious day, we are starting our 10th book in our Srila Prabhupada book study series. Today we're going to start this book, Raja Vidya, the King of Knowledge. So we'll start with the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरदुषे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्त रूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्त शक्तिकं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तडालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं हरिः ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in. We will start with the study of this book, which is Raja Vidya, the King of Knowledge. So the first chapter we'll start with today. The first chapter is entitled Raja Vidya, the King of Knowledge. All right. So let me share my screen, and I'm so happy that we are starting this new book on this auspicious day. All right. So devotees who want to read may raise your hands and then we'll start. So this got some verses also from Bhagavad Gita. It's starting off with a Bhagavad Gita verse. Okay. Yes. Leela Nandini Mataji, you can go ahead. Let me share my screen. Just give me 1 second. Yes. Can you see the screen, Mataji, now?
No.
Huh?
Yeah, I can see the screen now.
Yeah. So go ahead, Mataji. Chapter 1, Raja Vidya, the King of Knowledge.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dandavats.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha idam tu te guhyadamam pravakshami anusuyave jnana vijnana sahidam yajnatva mokshase shubhat. The Supreme Lord said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9.1. The opening words of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita indicate that the Supreme Godhead is speaking. Here Sri Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulences and one means one who possesses. We have some conception of God. But in the Vedic literature, there are definite descriptions and definitions of what is meant by God. And what is meant is described in one word, Bhagavan. Bhagavan possesses all opulences, the totality of knowledge, wealth, power, beauty, fame, and renunciation. When we find someone who possesses these opulences in full, we are to know that he is God. There are many rich, wise, famous, beautiful, and powerful men, but no one man can claim to possess all of these opulences. Only Krishna claimed to possess them in totality. Bhoktara
Hare
Megha Tapasa. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashasha Shriyaha, Jnana Vairagya Yaschaiva, Sannam Bhaga Itingana. This definition is given of Bhagavan. Who's Bhagavan? This definition is given by Parasara Muni. Right? What does he says? Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya. All the opulences are in completeness, are in fullness in the Lord. What are those opulences? Aishwarya, riches, Samagrasya, incomplete, Viryasya, that means in the strength, Yashasha Shriyaha, fame, Jnana, knowledge, Vijnana, wisdom, and Jnana Vijnana, Yaschaiva, Sannam Bhaga Itingana. So beauty, wealth, strength, knowledge, fame, and renunciation. Vairagya, that is renunciation. So all of these six opulences, any one person who can claim to possess all of these opulences in full is only Krishna. Everybody else may possess it in several levels, right? We have some people who are very famous, some people who are very rich, like Amitabh Bachchan is very famous. Some people go there just to see his wave of hand, isn't it? That opposite the building. So he's very famous. And some people are very rich. Mukesh Ambani is very rich. Some of them are very knowledgeable, right? They can memorize all the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, or they are so intelligent, they are scientists and all that, right? But none of them, and Prabhupada also talks about the shelf life of actresses, right? They are very beautiful during the prime youth, and that time they act in movies, make a lot of money, etc. But later on, with age, the beauty also erodes. So no one can claim to possess all the beauty, all the strength, all the wealth, all the riches, all the knowledge, and more importantly, renunciation, right, for eternity, and cannot possess in full, and cannot also possess in eternity, cannot possess eternally, right? They may possess some portion of the strength, riches, or wealth or beauty, but they cannot claim to possess entirely, and also they cannot claim to possess it eternally also. They have a shelf life. Maybe we can be beautiful unto a certain point in time. After that, our beauty will deteriorate. Maybe we possess a lot of riches, but sometimes those something can happen and those riches can erode away, like that. But the only person who can claim to possess all of these six opulences in full and eternally, all the time, nobody can take it away, is only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. That is why he is described as such by Parashara Muni. Now we are going to continue with chapter 5 of the Bhagavad Gita, last verse, wherein Krishna himself declares that I am the supreme CEO. That means I am the supreme controller, I am the supreme enjoyer, and I am the supreme owner of everything. When you understand these verses of Bhagavad Gita, what does it do to us? It helps us to get out of anxiety, right? Because I know that what is not within my control is within the control of Lord Sri Krishna, who is my best friend, who is my best beneficiary, who is my best well-wisher. So why should I need to be in anxiety? Yeah. So let's continue to read. Who will read now? Yes, Sridhar Prabhu, you can go ahead. Let me share my screen.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. I hope you're able to see the screen now. You can start with Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam from there.
Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Mageshwaram Sivirdam Sarva Bhutanam Yatva Mam Shantim Rishyati. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher and all living entity attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Bhagavad Gita 5.29. Here Krishna proclaims that he is the enjoyer of all activities and the proprietor of all planets. An individual may possess a large tract of land and he may be proud of his ownership. But Krishna claims to possess all planetary system. Krishna also claimed to be the friend of all living entities. Sugurtam Sarva Bhushanam. When a person understands that God is the proprietor of everything, the friend of everyone, and the enjoyer of all, he becomes very peaceful. This is the actual peace formula. No one can have peace as long as he thinks, I am the proprietor, who is capable of claiming proprietorship. Only a few hundred years ago, native Indians were considered the proprietors of America. Today, we in our turn are claiming that proprietorship. But in 400 years, but in 400 years or 1000 years, perhaps someone else will come to claim the same. The land is here, but he come here and falsely claim ourselves to the proprietor of it. The philosophy of false proprietorship is not in line and Vedic injunctions. Sri Ishopanit states that everything animate and inanimate, this is there within the universe, is controlled and owned by the Lord. The truth of statement is factual, but under illusion we are thinking that we are the proprietors. In actually, God owns everything, and therefore he is called the richest. Of course,
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjita magrada kasya svidhanam. Right? Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Ishavasyam, Isha Upanishad, verse number 1 says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Isha. Ishavasam idam sarvam. Yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Whatever you find in this universe belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One second, Hare Krishna, one second. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So I was saying, in this paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is talking about Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Jita Magrada Kasya Svidanam. So we should be happy with whatever is the riches or whatever is the resources, whatever is the skills provided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to us. Utilize it in the service of the Lord rather than think, oh, he possesses more skills than me. Oh, he possesses a better car than me. Oh, he's got a better position than me. Instead of thinking that and becoming anxious about it, because can we do something about it? No. Whatever we deserve, the Lord has given to us. So we should be satisfied with whatever we have, knowing well that Krishna is the proprietor of everything. He has allocated to different people according to what they deserve, according to their karma, according to their prarabdha, whatever they've desired in the past, according to the activities of the past. So we should be satisfied with what we have, and we should not unnecessarily envy others' property, others' riches, others' skills, others' strengths. So in this way, this is the peace formula that is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we know that the Bhoktaram or the proprietor of everything is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we would not envy anybody else, knowing well that they are all custodians of the property of the Supreme Lord. The Lord has entrusted with them some things, some property, some skills, etc. And everything will die with this body. So what we should endeavor for in this human form of body is whatever resources I have, how can I utilize it in the service of the Lord? And in this way, gain the mercy of the Lord and go back home, back to Godhead. Rather than become envious. If you become envious, what happens? We neither have peace in this world, nor do we have a better destination. Yeah. So that is what is given here. In this verse from Isha-vasyam idam sarvam, from Isha Upanishad verse number 1. Okay, so let's continue reading. Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. Of course, there are many men who claim to be God from there.
Hare Krishna, pranams Mataji.
Pranams.
Of course, there are many men who claim to be God. In India, for instance, at any time, one has no difficulty in finding at least 12 people claiming to be God. But if you ask them if they are the proprietor of everything, they find this difficult to answer. This is the criterion by which we can understand who God is. God is the proprietor of everything. Proprietor of everything, and being so, he must be more powerful than anyone or anything else. When Krishna was personally present on this earth, no one could conquer him. There is no record of his ever having lost a battle. He belonged to a Kshatriya warrior family, and the Kshatriyas were meant to give protection to the weak. As far as opulence is concerned, he married 16,108 wives. Every wife had her own separate palace, and Krishna expanded himself 16,108 times in order to enjoy them all. This may seem difficult to believe, but it's stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the great sages of India recognize this as scripture and recognize Krishna as God.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. Okay, so here there is a pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam wherein Narada Muni actually goes to Dwaraka to visit Lord Shri Krishna. Like it's mentioned here, Krishna actually married 16,108 wives, right? Out of that 16,100 wives were those who were abducted by Narakasura, right? When Krishna actually killed Narakasura, then those queens actually were abducted by Narakasura, took shelter of Krishna, and Krishna married all of them. So in this way, Krishna married 16,108 queens. And when Narada Muni went and saw in Dwaraka, he was seeing that Krishna was actually playing a game with one of his wives in one of the palaces. In another palace, Krishna was running the administration in the court. In another palace, he was playing with his son. So in this way, in all the 16,108 palaces, Krishna was doing simultaneously was present in all the palaces. Just like Krishna was also present in the Rasa Leela dance, right? When millions of gopis were dancing, and each one of the gopis thought that Krishna is dancing only with me, because Krishna was personally present with each and every gopi. So Krishna expanded himself unlimitedly, just like he could be with 16,108 queens. He could actually be with the millions of gopis at the same time. So that is the omnipotence of the Lord. That is the supreme personality of God. It only can do that, right? Some of the sadhus, right, who do Ashtanga yoga, they also get a lot of mystic powers. But the maximum what they can do is it is mentioned in the Shastra, they can expand only up to 8 forms, right? They may be simultaneously present in 8 places. They may become bigger than the biggest or smaller than the smallest. They may get some powder, they may give some coins, etc. Those are all mystic powers which anybody can develop by performing Ashtanga yoga in the proper way. But no one can become God by meditation, right? God is always God in all circumstances. Nobody can become God by meditation. Why? Because Krishna, when he was a small child, he killed Putana, right? He killed the Trinavrata demon. So many demons Krishna killed, right? He lifted the Govardhan hill. Actually, once, while on a lighter note, when Prabhupada actually got his disciples to draw, right, the various leelas, and then Prabhupada used to guide them, draw like this, draw like that. So once Prabhupada asked someone to draw Krishna, they actually drew somebody with a lot of muscles, and with great strength, lifting the Govardhan hill like that. So Prabhupada said, no, Krishna does not have to look with so much of muscles and all. He does not need to build his strength to lift the Govardhan hill. Krishna is the supreme personality of God, and he is beautiful, and at the same time he can perform miraculous tasks. He need not look, bulging with his muscles bulging, etc. Like in this way, he was telling those devotees who were drawing, the various leelas of Krishna, that you draw Krishna as the most handsome person, but yet with a small finger of his left hand, he is lifting the Govardhan hill for 7 days and 7 nights. So this is the opulence of Krishna, and one can never acquire such opulence or become God simply by meditation. Right? One may acquire some kind of siddhis which will also die with the body. It cannot be eternal. Whatever siddhis we acquire by performing Ashtanga yoga or anything, or other yoga systems, right? It is not at all eternal. Only one thing is eternal. What is bhakti yoga? Whatever bhakti we perform in this life, that is the only thing that we can carry through our subtle body until we perfect our lives. If you've done 50% bhakti, we'll continue with 51% in our next lifetime. Only bhakti we can carry, nothing else we can carry. All our properties, our wealth, our riches, our name, fame, glory, etc., everything will die with this body. All right. So let's move forward and read. So who will read in the first verse of this 9th chapter, right? Now Prabhupada is going to explain why Krishna spoke this message to Arjuna. Why not to somebody else, right? Because Arjuna was his dear friend and also Arjuna was non-envious. Smita Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Yes.
Yeah. In the first words, right, Mataji, from there?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. In the first words of the 9th chapter, by the word Guryatamam, Sri Krishna intimates that he is imparting the most confidential knowledge to Arjuna. Why is he proclaiming this to Arjuna? It is because Arjuna is
Anasuyu,
non-envious. In the material world, if someone is greater than us, we are envious. We are not only envious of one another, but of God. Also, when Krishna says, I am the proprietor, we disbelieve it. But this is not the case with Arjuna, who listens to Krishna without envy. Arjuna does not cavil with Krishna, but agrees with whatever he says. This is his special qualification, and this is the way of understanding Bhagavad Gita. It is not possible to understand what God is by our own mental speculations. We have to hear and we have to accept.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Haribol. Thank you. So here, what is the method? So two things are addressed in this paragraph. Prabhupada is talking about why Arjuna, why of all people Arjuna is chosen by Krishna to give this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. One is Anasuyave. That means Arjuna is not envious of Krishna. And Arjuna, Bhakti Hume Saka Cheti. He is also the friend of Lord Shri Krishna. Right? So if we are envious of anybody, right, we want to pull that person down. In such a case, how can we understand anything from that person? Right? And generally, it is also explained that we are generally envious of people who are just like us. Right? We are not envious of, say, Bill Gates or Mukesh Ambani. We are not envious of them, but we are envious of our neighbor. Right? Why does the neighbor have a Mercedes-Benz car? I have only a Wagon-R car, isn't it? So that kind of envy crops up in the mind when there is some kind of competition. When we relate to the other person, that person is almost equal to me. In such a case, we compete with them. That is why we are envious of Krishna, because Krishna is also coming in a two-handed form, right? Generally, Lord Vishnu is full of Aishwarya. So when we look at Lord Vishnu, it is like so much of awe and reverence. He's got Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. He's dressed with, nice Pitambar, dhoti, and, he's looking very effulgent with all the ornaments, etc. But we see Krishna is just like a Gopa. He's playing with Madhu Mangal. He's drinking and eating with his friends, sitting around like that. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he enjoys such kind of transcendental mellows with his relatives, with his friends, with the Gopas, with the Gopis, etc. That does not mean that one becomes envious of the Lord just because the Lord is performing some common pastimes. We should also understand, Prabhupada mentions that the Lord also performs uncommon pastimes, right? When the Lord performs Rasa Leela, we should also know the Lord is performing the Govardhan Leela. He's lifting the Govardhan hill for 7 days and 7 nights. The Lord killed Putana, the Lord killed Arishtashur, the Lord killed Tranavrata, so many demons in the first few months of his appearance in this world. The Lord married 16,108 queens and maintained them all in separate palaces. It's not possible for an ordinary human being to do all that. So when one is not envious of the Lord, rather when one knows that the Supreme Lord is my best friend, is my best beneficiary, in such a case, one actually realizes his position as a servant of the Lord. And in such a case, one becomes eligible to hear and understand about the Lord. That's why the first instruction that Lord Krishna gives to Arjuna, once Arjuna surrenders, right? He surrenders by saying, Sishyasteham sadi mam tvam prapannam. Oh Krishna, I am very confused about my duty. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. Prachami tvam dharma sammoda chetaha. Yashreyasya nishchitam brohitanme. Sishyasti ham sadi mam tvam prapannam. Oh Krishna, I am your surrendered disciple. I am confused about what to do, what not to do. I am surrendered unto you. Please guide me. And only when a person surrenders to the Lord, then only the Lord starts speaking. Otherwise, the entire first chapter, Arjuna was continuously talking. I will not fight because I will incur sinful reactions, because I will not have a family to enjoy all my possessions and riches and the kingdom. Krishna did not say anything. Okay. Krishna was just listening. But when Arjuna surrendered to Krishna as a disciple, then Krishna started speaking. What did Krishna say? Prajna vadamscha bhashase. You're talking words of learning, but you're actually a fool number one, right? Prajna vadamscha bhashase. Gatasun agatasumscha nanu shochanti panditaha. Right? This body, right? The appearance and the disappearance of this material body is like the appearance and disappearance of the winter and the summer seasons. Matras prashasya konteya shitoshna sukha dukkada. So one should not be bewildered by the so-called birth and death of this particular body. Right? And then what does he say? When he surrendered like that, then Krishna said, you are fool number one. And then he told him what is the way to acquire transcendental knowledge. What is the way? Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So the way in which we acquire knowledge from a bona fide authority is by pariprashnena and sevaya. Pariprashnena means asking questions with humility, with sincerity, with the desire to put them into practice in our life, not in a challenging spirit. And sevaya, that means we render service to such a spiritual master and try to acquire the knowledge from such a spiritual master. Then only the spiritual master will light the lamp of transcendental knowledge in our heart. That is how we get real transcendental knowledge, not by mental speculation, not by assumption, not by pratyaksha praman, not by seeing, not by assuming things, but by shabda praman, by hearing from a bona fide authority. All right, so let's continue. Yeah, so Prabhupada is saying we can acquire transcendental knowledge not by our own mental speculation, but we have to accept a bona fide authority and hear from him. And also another important qualification that we discussed is Arjuna was not envious, anasuyave. Okay, Shobhamai Mataji, go ahead. Because Arjuna is not envious.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dhanavad.
Because Arjuna is not envious, Krishna speaks this special knowledge to him. This is not only theoretical knowledge, but practical knowledge, Vigyan Sahitam. Whatever knowledge we receive from the Bhagavad Gita should not be taken for sentimentally or fanatism. The knowledge is both Jnana and Vijnana, theoretical wisdom and scientific knowledge. If one becomes well versed in this knowledge, liberation is certain. Life in material world is by nature inauspicious and miserable. Moksha means liberation, and the promise is that by dint of understanding this knowledge, one will attain liberation from all miseries. It is important then to understand when Krishna says about the knowledge, Raja Vidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Sukham Kartum. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting. It is joyfully performed.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So here Prabhupada is talking about how the knowledge, there are two kinds of knowledge. One is Jada Vidya, the other is transcendental knowledge. Jada Vidya is material knowledge, right? How to eat better, how to sleep better, how to acquire more wealth, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Those knowledge is what is taught in our schools and colleges, right? But we are talking here about bhakti. Does bhakti require knowledge? Right? Bhakti does not require any knowledge because jnana karmadi anavratam. It does not require any knowledge. It does not require any particular pious activity. Bhakti is independent of itself, right? Bhakti does not require anything except shraddha or faith, right? But at the same time, why are we studying all these books? Because bhakti means we can just practice, right? But Prabhupada told us that bhakti, that means when we perform devotional service without knowledge, what are we doing? We are just performing sentimental bhakti. When we are sentimental, what happens? When we are happy, we will do bhakti. But when troubles come our way, We are so sentimental. Oh, the Lord is not protecting me. The Lord is giving me so much trouble. I will not perform bhakti. That is sentimental attitude. When I'm happy, when I get what I want, then I do bhakti. When I don't get what I want, I don't do bhakti. That is sentimentalism. At the same time, too much knowledge, right? Just for this, niyama agraha, aniyama agraha. Right? That means I'm so fanatic that, I don't consider time, place, and circumstance. I'm just, sticking to the principles without having the objective of Krishna Prema. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Right? It is important to know. Otherwise, Prabhupada says, knowledge without bhakti is mental speculation. And bhakti without knowledge is sentimentalism. So we don't want to do mental speculation. We don't want to be sentimentalists. We want that jnana or that knowledge which will help us advance in bhakti, which will help us continue bhakti in all circumstances of life, whether in happiness or in distress, whether in heat or in cold, whatever be the situation. I have to continue the process of bhakti. That requires bhakti jnana. That requires a knowledge of bhakti, right? How the various Vaishnava acharyas have performed bhakti in all circumstances, whether in happiness, right? Grihe tako, vane tako, sada hari bole tako. Whether we are grahasthas, or whether we are brahmacharis, or whether we are vanaprasthas, whether we are sannyasis, or whether we are brahmacharis, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi, or whether we are brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, or shudra, whatever may be our varna or ashrama, whatever be our condition of life, whether we are happiness or in distress, does not matter. We have to continue with the process of devotional service. And what does that give? Moksha. Moksha means mukti rupam swarupena vyavastitihi. That means we become situated in our constitutional position as a servant of the Lord, and we engage in activities that will give pleasure to the Lord. What are these activities called? These activities are called guhyam. Guhyam means secret. Right? Raja Vidya. So this knowledge which helps us advance in bhakti, that is Raja Vidya. And this is Guhyam, right? This the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is an open secret. But how many people have taken to it? Right? So it's a secret. It is only revealed into the minds of those people who want to serve the Lord. The Lord covers by his Yoga Maya from his potency to those people who want to become God. Right? If our motive is to serve God, we'll be guided by God. But if our motive is to compete with God and become envious of God, then we'll be put into the material condition of life, where we can do punas charvita charvananam, where we try to chew the chewed and attain frustration in our life. Right? Pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam. Why is it pratyaksha? Pratyaksha means it gives direct perception to the senses. Sometimes when you're chanting, we feel extreme bliss. Sometimes you make a nice garland for the Lord, we feel so much satisfaction. Sometimes when we dress the deities, we make such boga, nice boga for the Lord. And then when we have the prasadam, we think, oh, prasadam is very nice. The lordships must have really enjoyed the boga. Right? So that is understood by the perception of the senses. And susukam kartumavyayam. It is joyfully performed. Right? Initially, it is like a person who has jaundice. Right? He cannot taste the sugarcane juice because his tongue has lost taste because of his disease. Similarly, we are all materially conditioned. However, as we grow in the process of Krishna consciousness, as we continue chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, our material disease will get cured. And then we will be able to relish the process of devotional service. Until then, what are we supposed to do? Whether we like it or not, we will have to get up in the morning during Brahma Muhurta time, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, chant in the association of devotees, perform deity worship, perform arati for their lordships, offer boga to the Lord, honor only Krishna Prasadam. Like that, when we continue to do, then Cheto Darpana Marjanam happens, purification of the heart happens, and in this way, we will be able to joyfully perform the process of bhakti when our heart gets purified. Yeah. So now we'll end with Navikishori Mataji. Yes, Mataji, go ahead and you can read the next paragraph. According to the Bhagavad Gita, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam, Mataji. Thank you. According to Bhagavad Gita, the topmost knowledge, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, is Krishna consciousness. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, we find that the symptoms of one who is actually knowledge is that hey, he has surrendered to Krishna. As long as we go on speculating about God but do not surrender, it is understood that we have not attained the perfection of knowledge. The perfection of knowledge
is Bahunam Janmanam
ante Gnanavan me prapadyate Vasudhaiva Vasudevah Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudarlabha. After many birth and death, he who is actually in knowledge surrendered unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Bhagavad Gita 7.19. As long
Hare
as we
Krishna.
do not
Thank you, Mataji. Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
So we here for today. So here the exact definition is given, right? What is the definition of perfection of knowledge? Is to understand Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Lord Vasudeva is the causes of all causes. And when does a person realize that Krishna is the cause of all causes and ultimately surrenders to him? After many lifetimes. We are all fortunate if you are able to believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I should render service to him. Then we are Mahatma Sudurlabha. We are very great souls who are very rare. Bahunam Janmanamante. After many lifetimes. Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Prapadyate means to surrender. After many lifetimes, one is able to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and understand that Vasudeva is Sarvamiti. He is the supreme cause of all causes. Such a great soul, such a Mahatma is very rare. Sudurlabha is very rare. Right? So what is given here, important point is given here is understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender to the Lord. Sarvadharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Right? When we surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the Lord will guide us as to how we need to go about to attain the perfection of life. The Lord will reveal this Raja Guhyam, right? The king of all secrets, the king of all confidential knowledge in our heart. And by practicing that, which is the king of all knowledge, which is Krishna consciousness, we'll be able to attain the perfection of life, which is Krishna Prema. Grantaraj, Raj Vidya, the king of knowledge ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gurudev ki jai. Ananta Koji Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So now we will do our regular Kartik month recitations. Let's start with Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 12, entitled Devotional Service. Let me share my screen with you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 12, entitled Devotional Service. Arjuna Vacha. एवं सतत युक्ता ये भक्ता स्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरम् अव्यक्तं तेषां के योगवित्तमाः श्री भगवानुवाच मय्यावेशमनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया परयोपेताः ते मे युक्ततमा मताः ये त्वक्षरम् अनिर्देशम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्रगम् अचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थम् अचलं ध्रुवम् सन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः क्लेशो अधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवद्भिरवाप्यते ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम् मय्येव मन आदत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः अत चित्तं समादातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यास योगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जयः अभ्यासेऽपि समर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि अतैतद् अपि शक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान् श्रेयो हि ज्ञानम् अभ्यासात् ज्ञानात् ध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागस्त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मयि अर्पितः मनो बुद्धिर्यो मद्भक्तः मे प्रियः यस्मान्नोद्विजते लोको लोकान्नोद्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैर्मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः अनपेक्ष शुचिर्दक्ष उदासीनो गतव्यतः सर्वारम्भ परित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभा परित्यागी भक्तिमान्य स मे प्रियः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानपमानयोः शीतोष्णा सुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दासुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिर्भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्मामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धाधाना मत्परमा भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Now we'll recite Gopi Geetam from Canto 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter number 31. It's also called Gopi Geetam or the Gopis' songs of separation. Gopya uchuhu jayati tedikam janmana vraja shrayata indira krishna shashwadatrahi daita drisyatam krishna dikshutavakas त्वयिधृता शबस् त्वां विचिन्वते शरदुदाशये कृष्णा साधु जात सत् सरसि चोधरा कृष्णा श्रीमुषा दृशा सुरतनातते कृष्णा शुल्कदासिका वरदनिघ्नतो कृष्णा नेह किं वदा विषजलाप्ययात् कृष्णा व्यालराक्षसान् वर्षमारुतात् कृष्णा वैद्युतानलात् वृषमयात्मजात् कृष्णा विश्वतो भयात् ऋषभते वयं कृष्णा रक्षिता मुहुः सकलु गोपिका कृष्णा नन्दनो भवान् अखिल देहिनां कृष्णा अन्तरात्मदृक् विघ्नसार्थितो कृष्णा विश्वगुप्तये सकौ देहिमान् कृष्णा सात्वतां कुले विरचिता भयं कृष्णा वृष्णिदूर्यते चरणमीयुषां कृष्णा संश्रुतेर्भयात् करसरोरुहं कृष्णा कान्तकामदं शिरसि देहिना कृष्णा श्रीकरग्रहं व्रजजनार्तिहन् कृष्णा वीरयोषितां निजजनस्मया कृष्णा ध्वंसन स्मिता भज सखे भवत् कृष्णा किङ्करी स्मनो जलरुहाननं कृष्णा चारुदर्शया प्रणतदेहिनां कृष्णा पापकर्षणं तृणचरानुगं कृष्णा श्रीनिकेतनं फणिफणार्पितं कृष्णा ते पदाम्बुजं कृणुकुचेषुना कृष्णा कृन्दिहृच्चयं मधुरया गिरा कृष्णा वल्गुवाक्यया बुधमनोज्ञया कृष्णा पुष्करे क्षणां विधिकरीरिमा कृष्णा वीरमुयते अदरसीधुनाप्यायस्वयस्वनां तव कथामृतं कृष्णा तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीदितं कृष्णा कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं कृष्णा श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये कृष्णा भूरिदा जनाः प्रहसितं प्रिया कृष्णा प्रेमवीक्षणं विहरणं च ते कृष्णा ध्यानमङ्गलम् प्रहसि संविदो कृष्णा या हृदि स्पृशाः कुहकनो मना कृष्णा क्षोभयन्ति चलसि यद्व्रजात् कृष्णा चारयन् पशून् नलिनसुन्दरं कृष्णा नाथते पदम् श्रीलतृणाङ्कुरै कृष्णा सीदति दिना कलिलतां मनः कृष्णा कान्त गच्छति दिनपरीक्षये कृष्णा नीलकुण्ठलये वनरुहाननं कृष्णा बिभ्रदावृतं गणरजस्वलं कृष्ण दर्शन मुहुर् मनसिना स्मरं कृष्ण वीर यच्छसि प्रणत कामदं कृष्ण पद्मजार्चितं धरणि मण्डनं कृष्ण ध्येयमापदि चरण पंकजं कृष्ण शन्तमं च ते रमणनास्तने कृष्ण अर्पयादिहन् सुरतवर्धनं कृष्ण शोकनाशनं स्वरित वेणुना कृष्ण सुष्टुचुम्बितम् इतर राघवे स्मरणं नृणाम् इतर वीरनास् ते धरामृतम् अतति यद्भवान् कृष्ण अनिकाननम् त्रुटियुगायत्ते कृष्ण त्वामपश्यताम् कुटिलकुण्टलं कृष्ण श्रीमुखं च ते जडौ दीक्षताम् कृष्ण पक्ष्मकृदृशाम् अतिसुतान्वया कृष्ण भ्रातृबान्धवान् अतिविलङ्घ्यते कृष्ण अन्त्य अच्युतागताः गतिविदस्तवोद्गीतमोहिता कितवयोषिता कृष्ण कस्त्यजे निशि रहसि संविदं कृष्ण हृच्छयोदयम् सहसिताननं कृष्ण प्रेम वीक्षणम् बृहदुरश्रियो कृष्ण वीक्ष्यतामते मुहुरति स्पृहा कृष्ण मूयते मनाः प्रजवनौकसां कृष्ण व्यक्तिरङ्गते वृजिनहन्त्रिलं कृष्ण विश्वमङ्गलम् त्यजमनाक्षणः कृष्ण त्वत्स्पृहात्मना स्वजनहृद्रुजां कृष्ण यन्निषूदनम् यत्ते सुजातचरणाम्बुरुहं स्तनेषु बीताक्षणै प्रियदधि महि कर्कशेषु तेन तवीमतसि तद्व्यततेन किं स्वेत् कुर्पादिभिर्भ्रमतिभिर्भवदायुषां नः हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So now let us go on to our Damodarashtakam, the most auspicious Kartik month. I'll share my screen and the devotees can also do Deep Dan and also sing along this beautiful song Damodarashtakam written by Sri Satyavrata Muni describing the glory of Lord Damodara. Dama means rope and Udara means belly. The Lord who allowed himself to be bound with the ropes of his mother's love is Dama Udara, Damodara. And 8 verses glorifying this Damodara is called Damodara Ashtakam. 8 verses glorifying Damodara written by Satyavrata Muni. So let's sing these 8 verses for the pleasure of Guru Gauranga, for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. And today is the auspicious day of Gopashtami. So the pleasure of Shri Radhe Sham. We can sing this beautiful song, Damodara Ashtakam. Namamishwaram Shachitanandarupam Latat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodhabhiyolukaladhavamanam Paramrishamatyanta Todruta Gopya Sudantamuhurnetra Yugmam Rajantam Parambuja Yugmena Satanka Netram Moshwasakam Patri Rekanka Khanta Pita Graivam Damodaram Bhaktivadham Idrikshvalila Virananda Kunde Swagosham Nimajjantamakhyapayantam Tadiyeshitagneshu Bhaktarjitatvam Punha Prematastam Satavriti Vande Varam Deva Moksham Na Mokshavadim Va Na Chanyam Vruneham Vareshadapiha Idam Deva Purnata Gopala Balam Sada me manasya virashtam ki manyai Idam deva purna gopala balam Sada me manasya virashtam ki manyai Idam te mukambojam atyanta nilai Ritam kuntalai snigdharakya chagopya Mohochumbritam raktabharam me Manasya virashtam alam laksholabai Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख जालभिमग्नम् कृपा दृष्टिवृष्ट्याति दीनं बताणु गणेश मामाज्ञं यद्यक्षिदृश कुबेरात्मजौ भाद्यमूर्चे भयाद्वात् त्वया मोचितौ भक्ति बाजो कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकामे प्रयच्छ मोक्षे ग्रहो मे श्रीदामोदरेह नमस्तेस्तु दाम्ने सूरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायात विश्वस्य दाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवयतोभ्यम् नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवयतोभ्यम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जय यशोदा दामोदर यशोदा दामोदर राधे जय जय प्रभुपाद गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की जय, यशोदा दामोदर भगवान की जय, कलियुग पतित पावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, गोपाष्टमी महामहोत्सवा की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्री गुरुदेव की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in. Meet you all tomorrow for Brahma Muhurta chanting. We all got the nice darshan of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet from Mayapur Dham. So let's continue our celebration of Gopashtami. We also saw how the cows also reciprocated very beautifully with the Lord by breaking all the stones in the pathway where Krishna was going to hurt them the next day. So in this way, when we develop loving reciprocation for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the Lord will reciprocate millions of times over with us. So what we have to do, we have to just simply endeavor. This month of Kartik, especially talking about endeavor, and then we have to wait for the Lord's mercy. In this way, whenever endeavor meets Lord's mercy, then we get Krishna Prema. So we need to practice with Utsahat, Nishyad and Dhairyat until we get our desired success of Krishna Prema. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gopashtami Mahamotsava ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So anyone wants to ask anything, share anything, you can raise your hand. You can directly say, all right. Okay, so thank you very much. Meet you all tomorrow morning for the Brahma Muhurta chanting session. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada